Am I on? Because I didn't see it. Okay, yeah, the camera wasn't up. I'm so sorry. All right, there I am. Uh, Good evening. This meeting is now called to order. This is the Public Safety Committee meeting for Wednesday, May 15th, 2024, and I am the chair, Councilmember Yolanda McCoy for the 6th District. At this time, I will call the roll for those members of the committee first. Councilwoman Oliver, Councilwoman Darby, Councilman Johnson,
Here.
Councilman Spadola, Councilman Mills,
President.
and President Congo. And the council members who are not on the committee, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Councilman Vincent White, First District.
Thank you. Is there anyone on Zoom? Any other council members on Zoom?
Yes, Councilmember Michelle Harley, representing the 4th District.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for all being present today. This is the Public Safety Committee meeting. On the agenda, we have 2 items. We will start by having an update on the CompStat report by Chief Wilfredo Campos. Chief Campos, are you with us?
Yes, good afternoon, Madam Chair.
Good afternoon. Yeah. When it comes to this report, I definitely wanted to get an update, but we did see some things start to happen just in these past couple of weeks. So we really wanted to fill in the city with how things are going. Thank you so much, and you can begin your presentation.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, and good afternoon, council members and everyone in attendance. So to go over the CompStat numbers year to date, and before I begin, I just want to say that in no way am I trying to, when I talk about these crimes, in no way am I trying to minimize or take away from the victims of these incidents and their families. This is just to illustrate how the city's doing and where we're at with our crime numbers. When it comes to the year to date, as you can see up there on the board, hopefully everyone can see. I'm going to focus on the year to date numbers. When we do CompStat, we do the 7-day period where we measure the same time period from Sunday to Sunday in a given week, and in this case it's from 2024 to 2023. We also do the 28-day period in the same time period, and this is where we start identifying crime trends, and then we do the year to date. And year to date so far, as you can see up the top, the report covering the week of 4/29 through 5/5/05 or 5/5. Actually, do you have the other one, Madam Chair? I have a different CompStat with me here.
Okay. So the year to date, the last 7 years, I have 7 days, 28 days, and year to date is for 2023 and 2024.
Yeah, this CompStat that you have, I believe we sent you the most updated one earlier. David Karras did. That covers the time period 5/6 through 5/12, which is the most recent one.
Yes, that is the one that I have.
Okay, because this one shows 4/29 through 5/5,
Okay.
the one that's being displayed.
So,
Madam Chair, Kendra, do you have the latest one? If you can just email it on and we can get it to WITN to put up quickly for us, please.
yes, she received that information and she's sending it now. Thank you, Ms. Besnick.
I just want to reflect the actual numbers up to 5/12.
No, this is accurate. What he has up there is from previous from last month. Okay. All right, thank you. All right, so Chief Campos, they are working on getting that slide up for you. I didn't know whether or not you wanted to wait until it was actually presentable, or you just wanted to give us more information.
Yes, I can begin with the ones that I have here in front of me.
Okay.
and this is up to 512. So when you look at citywide numbers for the entire city, we've had 5 homicides this year compared to 6 last year for a 17% reduction. But when you look at the 2, 3, 4, and 5 and 6 year period across the board, we're down respectively 38% from 2 years ago, 58% from 3 years ago. We broke even from 4 years ago, 29% from 5 years ago, and 44% from 6 years ago when it comes to the murders in the city of Wilmington. Out of those 5 homicides, 3 of those are domestic related, and 1 of those is a domestic stabbing. When you come down, the rapes were down 50%. Robberies were up slightly, 1% year to date, 68 compared to 67. And then aggravated assaults were down 17%, 118 incidents compared to 143 incidents. Burglaries are down 7%. Felony thefts are down 15%. And the one thing that continues to hit us hard is the auto thefts, and it's a trend that started about a year ago, and we're starting to see it kind of dissipate a little bit, but however, it's still very active, and that's the Kia and Hyundai products that has affected the entire country from a TikTok video that was put out about a year ago. When we're looking at pre-CompStat trends, we're still seeing a lot of Kia and Hyundai products being attempted to be stolen or stolen for that period. So we have had some measures where we've done some public safety, airways with wheel locks that have been donated by Kia and Hyundai, and we have seen some positive results out of that. We also do some public safety announcements where we're encouraging people to take those Kia and Hyundai products to the dealership so that they can modify those ignitions so they're not as easily stolen. So that's when you come down year-to-date numbers, total numbers, we're down 8% overall in Part 1 crimes. This is what's being shown is Sector 1. I'm on the citywide numbers right now.
We don't have
Here we go.
So,
Thank you.
citywide is the top, very
Yep, so as you come down a year to date, we're down 8% in overall in Part 1 crimes, and every category is down except for, again, the robberies, which is 1 incident from last year up, and then auto thefts are up 2%. So I have full confidence that we'll be able to flip those over to where we can reduce some of those numbers as well as we move forward in the year. The one thing that to your you alluded to, Madam Chair, was the shooting incidents. Right now, we're up 19%, 31 compared to 26, and shooting victims 34 compared to 31. We're up 10% there. And as you come over, you see that we're up 15% from 2 years ago, down from 3 years ago. We broke even from 4 years ago, up 24% from 5 years ago, and 19% up from 6 years ago. Up until about a week ago, we were trending really well when it came to shooting incidents. But we always know, we always look out and talk about some of the things that we see in our executive management meetings about sometimes some flare-ups that we see between certain groups. And in the last week, we've seen a couple incidents where we've seen some back and forth retaliatory shootings. So that's what's been occurring here in the last week and a half. We do have some things that we are working on to hopefully in the near future to make some arrests on some of the incidents that have had occurred. I know our group violence intervention team that's run by John Cook has been trying to get ahead of some of these issues as well to prevent some of the retaliatory shootings. When it comes down to juvenile shooting incidents, we are up this year 7 compared to 4, up 75%. And then juvenile shooting victims, again, we're up 60%, 8 compared to 5. Misdemeanor thefts were down 25% overall citywide year to date. And those misdemeanors are people breaking into vehicles, people stealing packages off porches, people shoplifting, so forth and so on. So it's good to see that's down as well. Again, the one thing that we're focusing on right now, like I said, is in the last week and a half, we've seen an uptick in some of the group violence and that we weren't seeing in the last about 6, 7 months. So it's something that we do have plans in place. We do have some investigations that are taking place as we speak to hopefully remedy some of these issues that are occurring between these groups.
Okay, Chief, I just wanted to stop you for a second and acknowledge that Councilman Bracy has joined us.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, you may continue, Chief.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So that's pretty much a snapshot of the CompStat for citywide when it comes to the numbers. If anyone has any questions on the citywide numbers before I break into the individual sectors and districts, I'll be happy to answer any questions. But overall, as you can see, year to date, we're trending well, down 8%. Again, the one number that we're looking at to focus on again is the robberies and those auto thefts to continue to drive those numbers down.
All right, thank you. Were there any questions about the citywide stats before Chief moves forward on Sector 1?
Madam Chair.
Okay. Councilman, White.
That's it. Thank you, Madam Chair. Chief, how are these numbers impacted or have been impacted with the use of the license plate readers?
We when we pushed that out not too long ago, those numbers have been helped. It's helping in investigations. As you know, some of the shooting incidents that occur are by means of a vehicle, which are usually stolen. But what it helps is that once we get a description of a vehicle, we're able to put that out in real time to our officers and even our partner agencies throughout the county to be on the lookout for these vehicles. And what we're seeing is that either we're getting these vehicles quickly or they're dumping them, and we're able to recover these vehicles in a timely manner where we can process them and assist in some of the investigations. So they are very effective. In the little time that they've been out there, they've been very effective in helping with some of the investigations that deal with shootings.
Just follow up, Madam Chair.
Yes.
So the expectations then of the readers is not necessarily to deter the actual crime, but it's the speed in the investigation of that crime. That's the expectation, correct? Or I'm asking.
Yes, I would hope that it would be a deterrent to people using these vehicles, but I think it's too early to tell. What I do know that at this point, they have been very effective in assisting our investigators with investigations with some of these vehicles that are being used to commit these crimes.
Chief, have you, is it public disclosure where these cameras are now?
We haven't publicly disclosed them, but it's something that, we can have a conversation about.
And I'm not requesting that, but I just wanted to make certain I didn't miss anything. So that's fine, but I just wanted to clarify that.
Yes, sir.
I can see why you maybe would not want
Yeah.
to, so I'm not making any type of request. I just wanted to make certain we're on the same page. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Okay. Actually, I had a question as well, but this is to Councilman White. So the question you asked me was more so about those rather than traffic calming measures.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm glad you were able to clear that up because that's what I was thinking it was. That's why I told you Public Works.
Yeah, I know. Thanks for allowing me to ask questions,
Okay.
Madam Chair.
No problem. All right, Chief Campos, I do see that you have in here we do have 3 sectors here within the city, but it looks like you separated all by district. I did not know whether or not you wanted to go that far into detail, but you may continue.
Yes, thank you. Before I go into the sector, I just want to say that this is really important as well. Out of the 5 homicides that we've had this year, 4 have been closed. 3 have been closed with an arrest, and the fourth one, we have an arrest warrant for an individual who has at this point eluded capture. So we're working on that as well with with our federal partners to try to find this individual at this time. So that's kind of where we're at with our clearance rates when it comes to the murders that we've had this year.
Thank you so much for providing that information, because that is something I wanted to ask. Because when we look at these comm stats, we look at what's actually happening almost in real time from week to week, within our city. But we don't. But this sheet does not explain where we are with those investigations.
Yes, ma'am. And I can tell you that out of the shooting incidents that we've had up until last week, which are relatively fresh incidents, we were somewhere around 35% clearance rates when it comes down to shooting incidents, which is slightly above the national average for urban policing.
Okay. So you may continue with your presentation.
Yes, if we can go to Sector 1.
Mm-hmm.
Sector 1 is the boundaries for Sector 1 is everything north of the Brandywine River, from Miller Road over to Northeast Boulevard and Riverside as well. So as you can see, year to date, Sector 1 has not had any homicides compared to 4 last year. So that's down 100%. Rapes, we've had 1. Robberies are down 13%. The aggravated assaults, we've had 40 compared to 37, it's up 8%. And keep in mind that aggravated assaults include domestic violence as well. Burglaries are down 26%. Felony thefts are down 26%. And again, the one thing that continues to push is those auto thefts are up 33% in Sector 1. We have identified some groups of individuals who have been committing these incidents, but the majority of them are juveniles, where we do make an arrest, but as you know, they're juveniles and they get out pretty quickly. So it's a struggle that we continue to work with with family court, with our prosecutors as well, to try to mitigate some of those auto thefts by focusing on the juveniles to try to get them some assistance to keep them from committing these crimes. But overall, as you come year to date, total Part 1 crimes is down 1% in Sector 1. The 2 to 6 year period is down respectively as well. Shooting incidents are flat. They're even 10 compared to 10 last year. And shooting victims, 11 compared to 13, down 15%. Now, juvenile shooting incidents are up slightly, 3 compared to 1, up 200%, and victims 4 compared to 1. Misdemeanor thefts are down 28%. If we can go to District 12, next page. All right, so District 12 is Northeast Boulevard over to Hay Road, over to as far as you can go to the river. So as you can see, not a whole lot of activity over in that area. And no homicides for the period, no rapes. Robberies are down 67%. Aggravated assaults are down 60%. Burglaries are down 50%. Felony thefts are down 25%. Again, auto thefts are up 5 compared to 4, up 25%. And then the year-to-date numbers, they're down 38% overall in Part 1 crimes. No shooting incidents compared to 2 last year, down 100%. And no juvenile shooting incidents, misdemeanor thefts down 50%.
Madam Chair, may I ask a question?
Yes. Chief, we have Councilman White has a question.
Chief, can you give me the definition of felony theft?
So felony thefts are any value over $1,500.
Thank you.
The only issue with that is that the caveat is that if you're 62 years and over, and someone breaks into your vehicle and steals something that's worth anywhere from whatever minimal amount of value under 1,500 is still considered a felony theft. So if someone breaks in and steals 30 cents and change from the glove compartment and breaks the window and the person's over 62 years old, it becomes a felony theft as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. No further questions.
Okay. All right, thank you, Chief. You can proceed.
Okay, if we can go to District 13. District 13, as you can see, no homicides compared to 3 last year, down 100%. 1 rape. Robberies are even, 5 compared to 5. Ag assaults are up, 19 compared to 12, up 58%. Burglaries are even, 8 compared to 8. Felony thefts are down 56%. Auto thefts are up 8%. And then total Part 1 crimes year to date combined are down 5%. Shooting incidents, we've had 1 more than last year at this time, 7 compared to 6, up 17%. And shooting victims were down 22%, 7 compared to 9. We did have 1 shooting incident compared to 1 in 2023. And theft, misdemeanor thefts are down 26%. We can go to District 14. In District 14 is Market Street over to Broome Street, and then the Brandywine up to Brandywine Hills. As you can see, for the period, we've had no homicides in District 14 compared to 0 last year. No rapes. Robberies are even. Aggravated assaults are down 5%. Burglaries are down 33%. And then the felony thefts are up 18%. Auto thefts are up 45%. Total year to date, 12% increase from Part 1 crimes. And shooting incidents are up 3 compared to 2, up 50%. Shooting victims up 4 compared to 2 last year, 100%. And juvenile shooting incidents 2 compared to 0. Misdemeanor thefts down 17%. I'll take any questions anyone has for overall Sector 1.
I'm sorry. Okay. You know what? I'll take it. I say because he has more to go. You know, the person. So did they? Brandon. You may speak. You can ask your question to Chief Campos. WITN.
Hey,
Okay.
hey, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, Councilwoman McCoy and the Public Safety Committee. I just joined briefly. I'm in the vehicle right now, but I want to first just thank Chief Campos for some of these efforts around reducing crime in the community. There's definitely a difference with the community engagement unit, the officers with the blue shirts that come out to the Civic Association meetings, like Corporal Harmon, Corporal Flores. I think Captain Rosario has done a really good job at engaging with parts of this community. I just wanted to hop on this evening because last week I almost got shot twice. Once at the I was knocking on doors on Chestnut Street, the 1000 block of Chestnut Street, talking to someone, and 3 hours before I got to their door, he told me that there was a shooting at the corner where the liquor store is and the boarded up property. And there, and as he was telling me that, a shooting went off mid-conversation. And so I think in conversation with some of the residents on that block, I know Councilwoman McCoy, you've been very active there. Thank you for your work. Someone suggested that there be security cameras at that corner, or at least to encourage the liquor store that doesn't have, or I think they have the camera turned around, to turn the camera around or like shut them down, take away their liquor license so that that corner could have a sense of safety back at it. Also, I think it's a little bit troubling to ask residents who are victims or in the areas where there are shootings to have to turn over camera footage due to retaliation from the shooters. And so by investing in better infrastructure like security cameras that actually work in these hotspot corners, I think we can encourage some of the people to take the crime out of the city of Wilmington and go somewhere else. Also, I think we need to expand the community public safety initiative to the west side. I see there's a lot of investment on the northeast and the east side, which is great. But if we could have more violence interrupters, people who are trained to deal with some of these youth who we know are doing the shooting, to get out in the community and work with us, I think that would be really, it's necessary. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you for your work. And I hope we can continue to increase funding for things that are going to keep people safe, like violence interrupters and more cameras.
All right, thank you for your comment. It's not on. Thank you for your comment. Can you hear me, W? Oh, there you are. Thank you for your comment. So, I did allow the public comment to come in because we had a lot to go over when it came to the CompStat. I just wanted to make certain that if it was pertaining specifically to the information that we were receiving, that we'd be able to receive that. So I do thank him for the comment, though, because this is something that we are still, looking into. But I guess I will leave if it's anything that is not pertaining directly to the percentages that we're looking at, then we'll wait till the very end of the presentation. Thank you. You may proceed, Chief. I'm sorry. Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. And I would like to acknowledge President Conga. So thank you, Chief. You may proceed.
you.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. If we can go to Sector 2. Sector 2, the boundaries for Sector 2 is Adams Street down to Southbridge and up to the Brandywine River, down to the Southbridge area. As you can see, that encompasses 10, 11, and 16 district. 10 is the Southbridge neighborhood, 11 is the east side, and 16 district is the West Center City area. Overall, Sector 2 numbers, when you see year to date, we've had 2 homicides compared to 0 last year. No rapes, robberies are up 40%. Aggravated assaults are down 46%. Burglaries are up 28%. Felony thefts are down 13%, and auto thefts are up at 34%. Total year-to-date numbers for Sector 2 is at 1%. And if I can just say, the burglaries that are up, early part of the year, we had a string of burglaries on the east side at several of the different construction sites that are occurring throughout the east side, one being at the new Bancroft School, and some at the other developments that are taking place. And we have made arrests on 2 of those individuals, and since those numbers have started to come down, as you can see. So we're hopeful that those numbers will continue to come down as we continue our plans moving forward. Shooting incidents, we've had 12 compared to 11 last year at this time, up 9%, and shooting victims, 13 compared to 12, up 8%. And again, those numbers went up slightly in the last week and a half. Shooting incidents for juveniles, 2 compared to 3, up 33%, and juvenile shooting victims are down 50%. Misdemeanor thefts overall, year to date, are down 18%. Okay, if we can go to District 10, which is Southbridge. Southbridge, year to date, we've had 1 homicide, which was last week, compared to 0. No rapes, robberies are up 6 compared to 1 last year, up 500%. Aggravated assaults are down 60%. Burglaries are up 20%, 6 compared to 5. Felony thefts are down 43%, and auto thefts are down 40%. So far, year to date, Part 1 crimes in Southbridge are down 18% respectively. Shooting incidents are up 3 compared to 2, up 50%, and shooting victims are up 4 compared to 2 last year, 100%. Misdemeanor thefts are up slightly as well, 17%, increase 14 incidents compared to 12 last year at this time period. as we go to District 11, year to date, we've had one homicide. There was an arrest made in that. That was a neighborhood dispute among two adult males. We have no rapes. Robberies are up 17%, 7 compared to 6. Aggravated assaults are down 33%. Burglaries are up 62%. Felony thefts are up 163%. And auto thefts are up 122%. So District 11 so far this year is up 40% when it comes to Part 1 crimes. And a lot of that has to do with the burglaries that I alluded to a little bit earlier, as well as those felony thefts, power tools and stuff being taken from some of these construction sites. Shooting incidents are up 3 compared to 1, up 200%, and shooting victims 3 compared to 2, up 50%. No juvenile shooting incidents so far this year compared to 1 last year, and 2 victims, or no victims compared to 2 last year, down 100%. And misdemeanor thefts are even 30 compared to 30.
Okay. Chief Campos, Councilman Harley has a question.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Is this the time you want me to ask the questions regarding Southbridge, or would you prefer me to wait till afterwards?
If they are pertaining directly to the numbers, the percentages that are given, you may ask the question. If it's related to an event, then you should wait till after the presentation.
Well, yeah, the numbers and the events are together, so I can wait until afterwards.
Okay. All right, thank you. Well, Chief Campos, I actually did have a question about the comp stats that we're looking at. As I am noticing that the juvenile incidents and victims, there's basically an asterisk by each of these, and it's basically stating that the figures are shown already with shooting incidents and victims. And I just would love for you to be able to explain why you have differentiated the two, if you've actually incorporated the numbers in the top portion.
On the asterisk ones, it means that it's the same 0 compared to 0, so there is no percentage change in the 2-year period for juvenile shooting incidents and victims, as well as the 6-year period. So we haven't had any juvenile shooting incidents in District 11 year to date, and that was the same for 2 in the 6-year period.
Well, I think you may have misunderstood me. I was looking at the page in District 10 where there actually was a shooting victim in 2024, but none in 2023, but it was an asterisk instead of a number. And when I read the asterisk, it actually stated that all figures shown in juvenile shooting incidents and juvenile shooting victims are included in the shooting incidents and shooting victims. So although there is a number for this year where it wasn't one last year, it was an asterisk beside the percentage, because you're stating that the percentage is included in the list right above it. But I was just trying to figure out why then were you separating it? Would you be able to give us information on why it's separated?
Yes, because what we do is just to try to give people an idea of the shooting incidents, because if we just leave it as shooting incidents, you won't be able to differentiate whether there was a juvenile involved in that shooting or if it was an adult. So what we do is we break it down to where we have another line where it says juvenile shooting incidents and juvenile shooting victims, so that people understand the gravity of if, are we having juveniles being shot, or is it adults that are being are causing the shooting? So that's how we differentiate. We have to add that line, because if we just add the shooting incidents, you won't be able to tell if it was a juveniles that were shot in that district or that sector, and that's how we separate it.
Okay, thank you. So I just wanted to be clear that I do understand that, and by adding the additional number, it would kind of skew the totals, because it would look like it was an additional incident. Is that basically
Yes.
it?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. Thank you. All right, you may proceed.
All right, if we can go to District 16. So District 16 is Adams Street over to Market Street, and from the Brandywine River down to the riverfront neighborhood. So as you look over, no homicides, no rapes. Robberies are up 22%. Aggravated assaults are down 51%. Burglaries are up 12%. felony thefts are down 60%, and auto thefts are up 31%. So far in District 16, Part 1 crimes are down 18% year to date. Shooting incidents are down 25%, 6 compared to 8. 6 victims compared to 8 last year, down 25%. And juvenile shooting incidents, we've had 1 compared to 2 last year, down 50%. Juvenile shooting victims, we've had 1 compared to 2. And then misdemeanor thefts are down 31%. Any questions for Sector 2?
Would you be prepared to answer the question that is going to be posed by Councilwoman Harley?
Yes.
Okay. Councilwoman Harley?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Chief, for all the great work that you and your team are doing. But as it relates to some of the stats that you just shared, of course, it sounds like between Brandywine River and the riverfront, things are looking pretty good. But as you just shared, between Adams and South Bridge, it seems like the numbers have gone up in most of the categories. And my question to you is two things. In terms of the one homicide, was it one person or 3 people involved in that incident?
The homicide from last week is still active. I can talk
Okay.
to you offline on that.
Oh, sure.
I can talk to you offline and give you more information.
Okay.
But it's still an active investigation, and I know they're working on a few things to hopefully make an arrest on that one as well.
Okay, totally understand that. I respect that. And then I just wanted to mention that there is a growing concern with the weather changing and with the number of incidents going up in Southbridge. Is there a plan to increase more police presence over there as a result of the different categories and percentages going up?
Yes, ma'am. As of yesterday, we started our summer deployment, and what that means is that we have additional police officers who work in our specialized units, whether it be our drug unit, whether it be our detective unit, whether it be officers who are assigned to other administrative positions. They are required to work 2 weeks from May 14th to Labor Day throughout the summer to have additional police officers out in our neighborhoods. So part of their our duties would be to give 2 weeks to the patrol division, and that'll give us additional police resources out during the peak hours, which are from 1600 to 2 a.m.
Great, great. I'm glad to hear that because that at least that is information that I can take back, especially to the civic associations that are a part of these particular communities where some of these incidents are on the rise. So thank you. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Okay. Thank you, Councilwoman. If there's no other questions, Chief, you may proceed.
Yes, Madam Chair. If we can go to Sector 3, boundaries are Jackson Street over to DuPont Road, and from the Brandywine down to the Browntown Maryland Avenue corridor. As you can see, for the year to date, 3 homicides compared to 2, up 50%. All 3 of those homicides have been, 2 have been closed with arrest. 1 has warrants pending, or warrants on file, I should say. Rapes are 0 compared to 2. Robberies are down 27%. Aggravated assaults are up slightly, 15%, 39 compared to 34 incidents. Burglaries are down 25%. Phony thefts are down 8%. Auto thefts are down 29%. And year-to-date Part 1 crimes in Sector 3, there's been an 18% reduction year-to-date so far. Shooting incidents are up slightly, 9 compared to 5, up 80%. Shooting victims, 10 compared to 6, up 67%. Juvenile shooting incidents, 2 compared to 0. Victims, same, 2 victims compared to 0, and misdemeanor thefts down 27%. We go to District 17, which is Lancaster Avenue, or I should say 3rd Street down to Browntown, and over to South Union, over to Canby Park area. So far, we've had 1 homicide compared to 2, down 50%. Rapes are down 100%. Robberies are down 27%. Ag assaults 11% reduction. Burglaries are down 5%. Felony thefts are down 56%. Auto thefts are down 22% so far year to date. Part 1 crimes in sector or District 17 is down 24%. Shooting incidents 5 compared to 3, up 67%. And shooting victims are up 6 compared to 4, up 50%. 1 juvenile shooting incident and 1 juvenile shooting victim compared to 0 last year, and misdemeanor thefts are down 22%. District 18 is Union Street over to Jackson, and from 3rd Street over to the Brandywine. We've had 2 homicides, both again, 1 with an arrest and 1 is pending, warrants on file. 0 rapes. Robberies are down 38%. Aggravated assaults are up slightly, 16 compared to 11, up 45%. Burglaries are down 19%. Felony thefts are up 27%. And auto thefts are down 30%. Total Part 1 crimes year to date down 12%. Shooting incidents 3 compared to 1, up 200%. And shooting victims, 3 victims compared to 1, up 200%. 1 juvenile shooting incident and 1 juvenile victim as a result. Misdemeanor thefts down 35%. District 19 is Union Street out to DuPont Road and from South Union up to the Brandywine. No homicides, no rapes. Robberies are up 50%. Aggravated assaults up 50%. Burglaries are down 60%. Felony thefts are up 44%. And auto thefts are down 39%. So far, District 19, Part 1 crimes down 19%. We did have one shooting incident, and that was at the bar in Charlie Square, and 1 shooting victim as a result from that shooting. Juvenile shooting incident 0, and misdemeanor thefts are down 14%. That pretty much wraps it up for Sector 3 and the 3 districts. If anyone has any questions, I'll take them now.
Well, I'm not certain whether or not any of my colleagues actually have questions yet, but I did have one question I would love for you to be able to clear up. One of the public comments basically stated about persons, some of our residents sharing video, I guess, from their own personal devices when it comes to an investigation. If some type of incident has happened, and sharing that information. Now we have a block captain program that we've just begun in the 6th district in the Hedgeville community, and so we have been sharing that information to the link to our residents who are now getting these Ring cameras. And so I just would like you to be able to explain that this link, when you share this information, you are able to do so without putting the rest of your information out, because that's what we were told.
Yes, and that's what one of the things was to make it easier for people, as we're seeing more and more technology come into play in some of these investigations, and what we were seeing where people were, for obvious reasons, hesitant to share some of that information, to make it easier, to keep it more confidential. We provided this link where now you can provide your home-based videos for incidents that happen, whether it's a package theft or someone pulling on car windows, or for a major incident that happens in your block, to be able to provide that to the police officers via this link. The officers receive that information, they vet it, and then that's something that they can provide to the investigators to assist them in their investigations without having a police officer personally come to your door.
Thank you so much for for giving that information. That is one of the things we wanted to provide when it comes to having more eyes in our neighborhoods. the Ring cameras are not just something I was providing. A lot of people actually already had their own, and to be able to share this link throughout the community so that we could share this information, I guess, for between ourselves or to our to the our law enforcement, to make certain that we're able to try to help out with anything we can and to keep our neighborhood safe. So I just want to say thank you for making certain that that link was available, and that if they are nervous, that they do not have to share their information as they are sharing this link.
Yes.
Well, that. Okay. All right, Councilmember Mills.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for your presentation, Chief. Appreciate it very much. My question was in reference to the juvenile shootings. I was just wondering, are we thinking this is just regular neighborhood conflicts, or are we thinking it may be a resurgence of some of the prior gang activity?
Yeah, one of those juvenile shooting incidents was related to a domestic violence homicide, but the other ones recently have been to some of the group violence that we've seen, that we've been affected with here in the last week and a half. So that's something that we're keeping a close eye on, and we're working with some of the CPSI folks to make sure that they get ahead of some of these conflicts that we're seeing, and hopefully they can get ahead of it and prevent some of that retaliation that occurs, as we all know happens when you have one incident. It can spur others. So we're trying to keep the temperature down in some of the neighborhoods with these interrupters, who, by the way, are doing a terrific job. And to Brandon's point earlier, the program is in the pilot phase right now, and it's something that we'll evaluate, and hopefully we can push it out across the city as well.
Thank you, Chief.
Were there any other questions from my council colleagues? Okay, anyone from the public? All right. Okay, thank you so much, Chief, for providing that presentation, our latest report for CompStat.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, council members as well.
Okay. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chief. I need you to hold on for just one moment. It looks like we do have a public comment.
Okay.
Hi, it's Brendan again. Sorry for being out of order last time. I joined halfway. I didn't know where we were with things. But thank you for providing the update, Councilwoman McCoy and Chief Campos. And it's encouraging to see the CPSI unit potentially be expanded to the west side. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Was there another? Okay. All right. All right. So thank you again. And thank you, Chief Campos. You may be excused.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right. You have a good evening. All right. So next on our agenda, we have a resolution in support of Senate Substitute 2 for Senate Bill 4, an act to amend Title 11, Title 13, and Title 29 of the Delaware Code relating to the criminal justice system, including probation. The sponsor is Councilwoman Harley.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to start off by saying, so this particular resolution, as you mentioned, is in support of the Senate Substitute 2, Senate Bill 4. And as a high-level summary, the proposed bill is basically mandating the least restrictive conditions possible to be employed in the supervision and integration of the criminal justice involved in individuals as they migrate into society. We do know, although City Council doesn't have the municipal authority to sponsor legislation pertaining to change in the law or around law enforcement, but we have been supportive of the criminal and justice reform into our second term. So when learning about this particular bill, when you go through it, starting with the first whereas, typically we don't get this involved in resolutions, but the meat of what this is about, I think is worth me just kind of like underscoring certain areas and how this bill the resolution is supporting this bill. So one, it's being mandated, again, like I said, as it relates to restrictive conditions. And how that looks is that based on the Constitution of the state, it stipulates that the DOC and its probation and parole officers, they are supposed to use suitable methods to aid and encourage persons that are in their charge to improve their conduct and to successfully meet the conditions and obligations of their parole and their probation. And when you look at the statistics in 2019, 91% of the rearrests within the first year of release from the corrections was basically due to a lot of technical violations or behaviors that are only classified as crimes because of the individual's probationary or parole status. So, of all those different arrests involved for violations of probation and parole, 1 in 4 reincarcerated individuals involved the failure to comply with the imposed conditions. So when you look at it overall, it's basically supporting better practices, better best practices for those that are in the supervision, as I said earlier, with those that are supposed to be managing them while they are on probation, and also around restoring their rights of that particular individual while on probation and parole, so they can enjoy, you know, some of the same activities as other responsible adults, as it relates to obtaining a marriage license without having the consent of a probation or parole officer, and possessing and consuming alcoholic beverages, provided that they do not have a documented substance abuse problem. So there's a number of things that's held over their heads. And that's why I said that if we could like just read over this, not right now, but you know, take some time to see the real benefit and value of this bill is pretty is pretty strong. So that's the whole point of it. And so I'll just end again with that this Senate Substitute 2 for Senate Bill 4 is going to reinforce the DOC's progress in reducing recidivism by incorporating probation and parole strategies that it has demonstrated to be successful into the Delaware State Code. Any questions?
Are there any questions from council? Okay. All right. And how about any questions from the public? All right. So, well, Councilwoman Harley, thank you very much for giving us more information about your resolution. I'm sorry. Okay. Councilmember Mills, your question?
Oh, yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I was going to ask the councilwoman, I'd like to be a sponsor as well, please.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Councilmember.
It's as much needed.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yes, it is. I agree. Yeah, and you can also add me as a sponsor to this bill.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Okay. President Congo.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Also like to be added as a co-sponsor.
Thank you, President.
Are there any others? Okay. Councilman Bracy?
Yeah, I would like to be added as well. I was trying to raise my hand, but I couldn't get it up.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Councilmember Bracy.
You're welcome.
Looks like everybody. Okay, good. Well, not quite. All right. You're fine. So, I just wanted to say.
I like to be added as a sponsor.
Okay.
Too. Since I'm getting,
No,
it's
no,
a good
no.
piece. It's a good thing. So
Yeah.
thank you, Councilwoman Harley, for supporting this.
Sure, yes. And like I had said initially, even though City Council doesn't have the municipal authority to change the code, We have been very supportive of criminal and justice reform since the last term. As you know, getting the Citizens Review Board, Councilmember Johnson, the rest of us that supported that legislation. So, whatever we can do to support moving the needle around criminal justice reform, I feel as though that's something that we pretty much have been committed to doing. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Okay. Thank you again, Councilman Harley. So, if there's no one else, okay, it seems everyone, okay, great. I think this is a great resolution and in support of those bills. As a person who's working in reentry, I do see some of the issues that the gentleman, because it's mostly men, the gentlemen that I'm working with have when it comes to dealing with their probation officers. So this looks like, especially here within Delaware, this looks like something that can really help some of our young and older people. It's like all ages are dealing with this. Stay on track. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if there is nothing else, this is a resolution. It does not require to be voted out. Kendra, would you be able to tell me when we will see this on the council floor? In June. Yeah, no, I'm trying to think of what's the first date in June.
It should be June 6th.
June, thank you so much. So we will see this resolution on full council floor on June 6th. All right. So if there is nothing else, we have no other questions and no other statements or comments, we can bring this meeting to a close. If I can just get if someone can make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. It is. I'm glad that we were able to adjourn this meeting. I say you have a great evening. Thank you so much for joining us, Wilmington.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night. All right.